Finally, after that, they'll add all these greens. Now, the greens, generally speaking, they'll do a what's called a straight ahead. They don't really, it's called a separate run in this case, but it's getting from those blue images from, whatever it is, black image to blue image to red image. Everything in between may take several poses depending on how fast they come up with the situation. And so this is if somebody's hand drawing it. Now, a lot of you are not going to be doing those onion skins and hand drawing. One more. We'll go back. Let me pop on I'm going to stop my share for a second. It looks like somebody might have added or somebody might have said something. It looks like a human centipede. Yeah, Jolene. Yes, it does. Okay. The last thing I want to pull up here is when he talks about it in the book, and I'll read this to you. The advantages of straight ahead. Okay, so sorry, that last picture right here, if you were to draw straight ahead, you'd be drawing the very first one on the left, then you draw the next one, 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 all the way until you get over here. But the problem that he's going to say, as I'll read to you, is that those straight aheads is maybe when you're drawing it, if you draw straight ahead, you might not get to the position that you actually want to, because maybe, let's say you're drawing straight ahead and you don't know over here in this area, you're not well prepared in this area where you actually see him in the black bending down to pick up the chalk. Maybe he accidentally goes too far with the walking and he doesn't start bending down until somewhere in this area, and then picking up the chalk may be too close to the chalkboard that he had written, so it doesn't give him enough space to get up. And that's why straight ahead might be an issue. People that are animators get to choose whatever they want to do as far as that's concerned. So he's not saying you have to do it one way or the other, but he's talking about the advantages and disadvantages. So the straight ahead we just talked about, the advantages is we get a natural flow of fluid, spontaneous action. It has the vitality of improvisation. It's very creative. We go with the flow, taking all of the action as it comes along. Often the unconscious mind starts to kick in, like authors saying their character tells them what's going to happen. That's when people talk about scripts. It can produce surprises, magic. It's fun. So when you go pose to pose, you're like, oh, what if I do this next? What if I do this next? The disadvantage is things start to wander. Time stretches and the shot gets longer and longer. Characters grow and shrink. We tend to miss the point of the shot and not arrive at the right place at the right time. That's mostly what I was just talking about. The director hates us because she can't see what's happening. It's lots of work to clean up the mess afterwards, and it's hard to assist. It's expensive. The producer hates us. It can be hard on the nerves, mad artist, and nervous breakdown time as we creatively leap in and thrash around in the void, especially with looming deadlines. The reason why it is expensive, two reasons. When you're doing the other thing, that the keyframes, you have one animator, the lead animator, will draw the keyframes and the extremes most likely, and then have somebody else jump in and do the middles so that the workflow can keep rushing forward. But also, if you're doing a straight ahead and you mess up, then you have to go back and start again. It's not the ink that's expensive, it's the time that's really expensive. Okay, now pose to pose, which is what we were just talking about with keyframes, breakdowns, extremes and breakdowns. The advantage is we get clarity. The point of the scene is nice and clear. It's structured, calculated, logical. We can get nice drawings in clearly readable positions. It's in order. The right things happen at the right time and in the right place in the overall time allotted. The director loves us. It's easy to assist. It's a quick way to work and frees us up to do more scenes. The producer loves us. We keep saying our hair isn't standing on end. We earn more money as we are seen to be responsible people and clearly not mad artists. Producers have to deliver on time and on budget, so brilliance is not rewarded as much as reliability. I speak from experience working both sides of the fence. They don't pay us for magic, they pay us for delivery. The disadvantage is, second. Chat, oh, people chatting. The disadvantages are but, and it's a big but, we miss the flow. The action can be a bit choppy, a bit unnatural. And if we correct that by adding a lot of overlapping action to it, it can go easily the other way and be rubbery and squishy, equally unnatural. It can be too literal, a bit cold-blooded, no surprises. Where's the magic? So now what he ultimately says about all that is the best way for him, at least in his opinion, is the combination of straight ahead and pose to pose. And I'm going to read from the top. First, we plan out what we're going to do in small thumbnail sketches. It's a good idea to have done this with the other two methods. Then we make the big drawings, the storytelling drawings, the keys. Then we put in any other important drawings that have to be there, like anticipations or where hands or feet contact things, the extremes. Now we have the structure just as we had with the pose-to-pose system. But now we use these keys and important extremes as guides for things and places we want to aim at. After you get your overall thing, go again. Do one thing at a time. We'll work straight ahead on top of these guideposts, improvising freely as we go along. We'll do several straight ahead runs on different parts, taking the most important things first. We may have to change and revise parts of the keys and extremes as we go along, rubbing bits off and redrawing or replacing them. So we make a straight ahead run on the primary thing, then take a secondary thing and do a straight ahead run on that. Then take a third thing and work straight ahead on that, then a fourth thing, etc. And add the hair or tail or drapery or flapping bits at the end. Now you will learn when you read chapter 3, some of these terms that were mentioned, the drapery, flapping bits. Up above, he talked about something else. There's something else you'll learn about. But advantages, working this way combines the structured planning of working from pose to pose with the natural free flow of the straight ahead approach. It's a planning between planning and spontaneity. It's a balance between cold-bloodedness and passion. Disadvantages, none that I know of. So ultimately, he's saying, go ahead. And I know a lot of you do not do the onion skin type of stuff. But if you do get into more of this animation and you play around, you know, we're going to have a couple of projects on Harmony, but you've got time on your hands, I'm assuming, to play around. And if you're interested, play around. We do a lot of keyframes, but in between you could add a lot of nifty, I use the word nifty, a lot of nifty stuff. So that's that about pose to pose and straight ahead, just something that's very important. Isaiah, by the way, I see that if you're able to get Photoshop, I'll send you, I don't know, I'll double check with Miss Jope. Miss Jope was in charge of Adobe stuff. I'll see if she put all of you guys on Adobe, but you're supposed to be able to get a free Adobe in certain classes. So hopefully, yeah, go ahead. Isaiah?
Do you have to have an Apple to use Adobe Photoshop?
No. Adobe, both Adobe and Harmony and also Storyboard, you'll be able to download and install on either Windows or Mac. Now, here's one caveat, one problem. Anybody that has an Apple computer, if you are on Catalina, the operating system Catalina, then you will have problems. This computer that I'm on right now was on Catalina, and I had to spend a lot of time. I think Catalina is 10.15. And if you open up, you click on this Apple in the upper left-hand corner of your Mac, and you click on About This Mac, you'll see it'll tell you what your operating system is. I had to revert from Catalina to Mojave to get this stuff to work. So between now and the end of our Thursday session, we'll have a Zoom meeting in the latter half, probably about 9:45. Just the last 15 minutes, I'll have you come on. But between now and then, I want you to get on and do chapter 3, and then you'll take the test. Please let me know how it's going. I was able to do chapter 3 in about 45 minutes, and the test should only take, really no more than 10 minutes. The test is, number one, most of the questions well, I know that 6 of the questions are taken directly from the same questions that you have in the MSI K-12. So if you've already done MSI K-12, make note of the answers. If you do an incorrect answer, it doesn't matter. I'm not grading you on your quizzes or tests that happen inside MSI K-12. So if you do a quiz in there and you get something wrong, go back, check out the right answer, and write down the right answer. I want you to have that ability. I want it to be what they call open book. Have the answers in front of you. Have them available to you. Get the right answers on these quizzes. Now, 4 of those questions are not direct questions that they ask in MSA K-12, but that I pull from the chapter. So I'm looking through the chapter and saying, okay, I'm going to write a question about this. 2 of those questions are about what we just talked about, straight ahead versus pose to pose. You guys have a great advantage here because I talked a lot more about it in this, and I wanted you very much to know about this. Anyway, so that's that. You're going to be doing MSI K-12 Chapter 3. I'll put everything on Google Classroom as soon as we get off. Does when does it due? Kayla asked, which is at the end of the period on Thursday.
Our username and password, our username is just our email without the, before the @ sign, and then our password's our birthday, right?
No.
Oh.
Generally speaking, it is, I think, your first initial and last name. And it's either a password you came up by yourself, or I think it's like Mr. M is great.
Yeah, I don't know mine.
Here's what I want you to do. Anybody that can't sign in, email me at jmagadman. I'll write it again, jmagadman@centerusd.org. It's right there. If you can't remember your password, email me and I will email you back. I'll check that right now as we get off. I'll keep an eye on that. And get in there, start on chapter 3. I know you only have 20 minutes left in this class, but you have 45 minutes in next class before you have to get online. And when we get online next time, if you say, I need a little bit more time, we'll see how many people are at that place. Does anybody else have any questions?
Why is there a timer?
Yeah, why is there a timer? What does that mean?
Meeting ends, I think.
Oh, up at the top. Okay, so just so you know, Zoom has unless you have an account with them, it has a 40-minute time limit. But at the end of the 40-minute time limit, during this stay at home, shelter in place, they actually, once it gets to the end of the 40 minutes, it extends it. It says, due to COVID-19 or something like that, we'll extend your time.
Oh, that means I should make an account then, huh?
It costs money.
Yeah, it's like a subscription.
Oh.
No, I'm running the meeting, so you'll be able to stay on, but we're going to get off in a second anyway. Doesn't matter. Kayla, so for everybody that's here, I sent out emails that I said tablets are available for pickup, for checkout, and I sent about 3 emails, I think. Is that right, Spencer?
About 3.
Yeah, something like that. So anybody else that doesn't have a tablet, email me, say that you want a tablet, and I will check with the front office and see if they're willing to do it again, because they did it yesterday. They handed out tablets yesterday. Okay. Well, Kayla, keep checking your email. I'm going to be doing, now that we're back in school, we're back in school. I'm going to be doing this a lot. I should stop that. Peace out.
I can't see your fingers, Eli. The screen in the back, like, cut out your hands.
But
So I just felt like, I always felt like this.
You knew he did it. All right. So anybody that wants to get off now, you're good to get off. I know that I want to speak to at least Daniel Nance, and anybody else that needs to make up some work, stay online. But everybody else, you're free to go. Go and see if you could get on MSI K-12 and email me if you don't have your password. I know you have a class coming up in 15 minutes.